Arno, congratulations. 3 points, is that how you planned it?
Now you're hoping for that, but you know how difficult it is if you go here. It's been very difficult for us last season. It's been very difficult when we played each other at Wembley. And it was very, very difficult again today. And the other two, last time when we were here, we conceded in the last minute. Now we scored in the last minute. So what we can say is that these teams, when they play each other, it's every time a very close call.
The intensity, certainly for the first half an hour of that game, was unlike anything we've seen maybe anywhere this season so far.
Yeah, it wasn't about good football, but it was intense. So, yeah, their fans were amazing. They helped them a lot, and their players just gave everything. But the pleasing thing for me to see was that although our fans helped us in the best possible way they could, but they were not with as much as the Newcastle fans, but we stood strong. So we had to defend so many set pieces throughout the whole game. And I know we've conceded 2, but I think we've conceded 350. This is a little bit of exaggeration. And especially after the 2-2, where we conceded 3, 4 or 5 set pieces, and for us to stood strong over there was something that I really liked, because normally we're known for really good football, but that wasn't possible today. So then you have to fight, and that's what they did, but what we did as well.
The celebrations on the third goal said a lot. Did you think it had gone at 2-2, or the chance to win it anyway?
After the 2-2, they were closing to scoring a 3-2 than us. Like I just said, after the 2-2, they got a few corner kicks, a few throw-ins through free kicks. So I had to wait very long to bring Rio and Javi in, because they're not so tall. So I thought it was not so smart to bring them in. In that moment, they were already standing there. But the moment things calmed down, we brought them in, and yeah, maybe with a little bit of luck, but it was our best attack of the second half of the game that led to a fantastic goal for a 16-year-old.
Just when you mentioned the size and physicality, because this league is intense and it is very physical, I think you've taken Florian Wirtz off all 3 games so far. Is there a slight concern with how quickly he's adapting to the physicality, the intensity of the Premier League?
No, not at all. For a 22-year-old to come to this league, and we played Bournemouth the first game, who were last season the most intense team in the league. And I think if you go to St James's Park, especially us, when we come here, the intensity is a bar above every standard you can expect. So for him to already compete and be ready for that for 70 minutes or 75 today or even longer, same for Hugo, is already really special, and tells you how much work the two of them to put in to get to these intensity levels, because you cannot compare this league, especially not Bournemouth and Newcastle away, to one of the games they've played last season in the Bundesliga. It's a very good league, but the intensity levels against these 2 teams are above all standards.
Did you deserve something tonight?
Yeah, I think we did, yeah. I think it's a really tough night for us on a number of fronts. You have them in football, but when they come along, they're very, very painful. Today's a really painful one for us, because I think we deserve something from the game. I think the performance has been magnificent. But we lose the game, we get no points, we get a few injuries and problems, which you couldn't have foreseen.
Are you proud of the players more than you are frustrated not to get points tonight?
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, of course you're frustrated whenever you deserve to get points and don't, because you know the league is relentless. The challenges are great, so when you perform well, as we have done in the 2 games so far, we've ended up with 1 point. That's a real tough one for the lads to take. But the spirit, the quality, the energy, everything was there.
What's the injury situation? So Joe Linton's looks probably the worst.
Yeah, difficult for me to give a thorough assessment at the moment, but yeah, Joe Linton's doesn't look good. Sandro Tonali's doesn't look good. Obviously Anthony Gordon will now be suspended, and Fabian, I think, looks concussed.
The red card, are you... Well, first of all, was it a red card for you?
My initial thought was, when I saw it on a flash, I thought no, because I thought he tried to pull out. Everyone tells me it is, so I don't know. I'd have to digest it a bit further.
Is that one where you have a bit of sympathy with Anthony Gordon, because he just wants it so much against Liverpool, particularly given his history?
Yeah, I don't think of course he wants it a lot, but he's gone in for a tackle on an awkward angle, I think. But I think that the most important thing is that, in my opinion, just seeing it in a flash really quickly, I thought he tried to stop, and I thought he tried to pull out. I don't think there was any malice or intent to hurt Virgil van Dijk in that in that split second. I think for me needs to be a bit of sympathy for Ant, because there's no intent, and I think the intent is the key thing.
He'll be suspended now. I suppose the obvious question is what happens now with Alexander Isak. Reports that, well, we saw the chairman was here tonight, that he'd spoken to Alex today. Is there a chance this can be resolved now quickly?
Yeah, I've got no idea on that situation. I've been here preparing. So, yeah, certainly far from ideal for us. We lose a forward option. But great to see Willis Sula come on and score today.
Yeah, I suppose to end on a high for Willis Sula and for Chow and for Jacob Ramsey, the two debutants. Good night for them.
Yeah, great night. I think you only feel truly part of a football club when you play, and I thought all the players that came on the pitch today, I thought everyone that started did really, really well. I was, as I said, so pleased with the performance.
Actually, just one quick last one. Obviously, 1 point from 2 games doesn't look great on paper, but are you seeing signs of optimism? Is there more to be optimistic than the table would suggest after those 2 performances?
Yeah, I'm not focusing on the table quite yet. One result changes everything, but I think the 2 performances have been excellent against really tough.
And, of course, another one of Michael's records has tumbled, sadly. Let's get that elephant out of the room, first of all. He is no longer Liverpool's youngest goal scorer in the Premier League. That is Rio Ngumoha.
He enjoys saying it,
No, I'm just stating the fact that...
Why have you got a smile on your face when you say it all the time?
Because I'm delighted for the boy.
Come on,
Don't come in here on our show throwing hungry eggs.
Our show, eh?
Yeah, listen. Now, I mean, in all seriousness, you did it, and it wasn't the winner. He'd only been on the pitch less than 5 minutes. Last week in the UK, he was picking up his exam results, and a week later, he's scoring the winner in the 101st minute at St James's Park.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I mean, it was such an important goal. He'll forever remember this. You'll remember your first goal anyway, but this could be so pivotal in Liverpool's season. I know it's early in the season, but it was such a massive goal. And it was a beauty. A great team goal, but finished absolutely to perfection. Let's have a look at it. As Macca said, Liverpool didn't really play one-touch football today. I mean, straight away you look at it, and I know Newcastle are down to 10 men, but, you know, it's 4v4 at the back, and eventually that Newcastle become outnumbered, actually, once Liverpool start playing it around and with the one-touch football. And it's Ngumoha at the back post that actually gets left behind. You see Szoboszlai just coming into the picture here. He's now got a problem. He's got 2 men. Do I go here? Do I go to the back post or leave him alone? And this one-touch passing is just exceptional. Mo Salah's ball is brilliant. He gets the assist, actually, in the end, but it's Szoboszlai that does the damage with that step over, Macca.
Yeah, and they just got outnumbered. The one-touch passing actually isolates a lot of the players. You see here, Harvey Elliott into Gravenberch, and there's 3 Newcastle midfielders all out of the game. And that's what you do when you pass the ball quickly. Suddenly there's an overload. Szoboszlai incredibly aware, which is great. And look at this finish.
At that point, Macca, you just... I mean, what options have you got? I suppose the one that he does, there's sort of bend into the corner. I guess this is the other option.
Yeah.
But no, it's not an option, is it?
No,
really,
that
is just the obvious one, because the goalkeeper, we're clear that the goalkeeper is shuffling this side, so he's rarely going to get the momentum to dive back across. It's the obvious finish, but
the ball's
not
not behind him, is it?
No, it's perfect.
Well, he's coming onto it perfectly, and he just needs to put it the way it came from.
What
Lovely
a finish.
finish.
I mean,
Lovely
it's
finish.
so precise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So much power. I mean, he actually, going for that much power normally means that you lose a little bit of precision. The harder you go, the less control you have. But he wrapped it in. I mean, he struck it so well, right into the corner. It was just the absolute perfect finish. And, you know, I mean, you can only imagine what thoughts are going through his head.
I mean, what a decision by the manager. He brought Rio on and Harvey Elliott on. They were on the sidelines, on the touchline for about 5, 6, 7 minutes while Newcastle had corner after corner after corner. Yet they came on, and Harvey Elliott as well needs credit because he was involved in the goal.
Yeah.
The one-touch pass to Gravenberch, which went wide. So they deserve an enormous amount of credit, and so does the manager, because taking Wirtz off and taking Ekatike off and then another experienced pro, and then you're sticking a 16-year-old on with Harvey Elliott, who wasn't involved last week.
And it's twice in a week, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, the ball, Chiesa coming on against Bournemouth, that substitution. He's either very, very clever or very, very lucky at the moment, but, hey, 6 points out of 6.
A number of times last year, a number of times that you can't count, and 2 in 2 weeks. this for the manager. So fair play, fair play.
Absolutely. And temperament-wise, to go into that sort of situation, that atmosphere, and you never played in the Premier League before at that age and do that.
Yeah, I know. It's listen. Some people are just born to do it. Some people have had such a good youth career. They're so confident. They've never been scarred, never had any real failures. They've always probably been the best player in their team right the way through. You build that bulk of confidence, that bulk of self-belief, and all of a sudden, you haven't got any of those doubts. You've always been the best in every age group. So you go on there thinking, now it's only later on in your career that you start thinking, oh, that defender's a bit good. Oh, I'm not very good on my left foot or a right foot. And you start actually understanding your weaknesses and other people's strengths. But at the moment, you're blasé. You go on thinking you're the best player in the world. And nothing he's done today is going to dampen that.
You see his first touch of the game, he received it and ran straight away at Livramento.
Yeah.
When he received the ball, his thought in his mind was to go. Salah didn't do that tonight. You know, a lot of the other players didn't do that tonight, but he received it and went, right, I'm going. I think Livramento cut it out. I don't know whether it went for the corner, but that's what he does. He's done that at all levels, even though he's still a kid. He's very quick with his feet, wants to go right, wants to go left. So he's got everything, but he just needs to learn from the best. And now he's training with the first team every single day. He's been elevated into their squad away from the under-21s. So he will learn and he will come on a lot, and he'll come on a lot just by experiencing 10 minutes of football tonight. What
a moment for him. Just the second ever 16-year-old in Premier League history to score a winning goal. And the other one wasn't bad. Wayne Rooney, who was actually a day older than him. Right, what about the Newcastle side of the story? They did so well to come back into it, but Eddie Howe spoke with all the underlying Alexander Isak stuff as well, and the atmosphere about maintaining their emotion and keeping things in check. And did we see examples in the first half of the opposite of that?
Well, we saw Newcastle, you know, with lots and lots of energy in that first half, and they could be forgiven for all the things that are happening off the pitch, for them to almost crumble a little bit, or maybe a little bit of anger from the terraces. Let's say this is a team, this is a club that's united despite all of that. And you can see that in their play. We'll just roll this on. I mean, Anthony Gordon in particular, let's keep an eye on him through a lot of these clips. I mean, the work rate from him, the passion, the willingness to run, the willingness to go and try to score and make something happen. OK, it boiled over in the end, but I think he epitomised the energy levels that Newcastle had within the stadium today.
Yeah, I mean, they were excellent. The crowds were brilliant. We knew they were going to be aggressive. We knew that the team had to work hard, which, of course, they did, and they were absolutely excellent. And whether they would have responded in the second half the way they did without, you know, if they had 11 men is another question. But Anthony Gordon was at the heart of everything good. But as Michael rightly said, he just let his team down in the end. I mean, I know they battled back in the second half to get to 2-2 and perform really well, but still, they're in trouble. They've got injuries, and now he gets a 3-match ban on the top of it all. That's the one thing you have to be careful about. He didn't need to make this challenge. He didn't need to at all. It was his over-eagerness, and it was a moment of madness, which he'll instantly regret.
I did this early on in my career. I got sent off, Macca. Over-eagerness, almost excitement. How much do you think? I mean, we're seeing how many times he's sprinting after the ball. He's so, you know, enthusiastic here. But how careful do you have to be when the crowd are
and they've just conceded
bagging you on,
well,
paying for blood in many ways?
Yeah.
I mean, look at those energy levels. That's almost like a substitute should be doing that in the 90th minute.
But also, you have to be savvy when you get towards him. You know that.
Oh.
You know, all he had to do was dive in front of Virgil van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk may have kicked him with his follow-through, may have hurt himself, may have got the desired effect that Anthony Gordon wanted. But once he got to Virgil van Dijk, it's as if he just lost his mark. It was as if he's like, I've got him, I've got to him, and he's still got the ball at his feet. And then he just gets all of his tackle. Well, you can imagine Virgil van Dijk kicking the ball here, and he collides this side of him.
Yeah.
It's just, well, I don't know what is... You'll have to ask him, but he's nowhere near the ball.
But is that just a lesson in these moments of just channeling?
I think
yes,
that
of course.
emotion and
Steve, everybody works hard. You have to work hard. You know, the trouble that Newcastle have had, this order, this bubble around, sacks against us. You have to have the intensity levels that he's had. Everybody does. It's a massive, massive, massive game against the champions. You have to have that intensity level, that willingness to work hard. You just have to slow it down and not commit errors like that. That's all it was. It was an error. and he shouldn't have done it.
And the feeling that he'll have now in the dressing room or when he got sent off, it's a very lonely feeling. You literally wander into the shower on your own. You got time to think. As I said, happened early in my career. You definitely have to learn. And almost I felt a tension just drop from me. 5-10 minutes after being sent off, it's like, oh my word, I got myself so wound up. I was still like a coiled spring. And then suddenly you're just on your own with your own thoughts. It's almost like the weight of the world comes off your shoulders and you think, wow, what have I done there? Let my teammates down. And he did, really. I mean, it was a silly foul. And the emotion of the occasion, all the banners before the game, possibly all got to him.
Absolutely. Let's give Newcastle credit for the way they came back with 10 men, but I must ask you both about the way in which Liverpool conceded these 2 goals on the back of the Bournemouth game. Would that be a concern?
Of course it's a concern. Kirkes, this is a... Look at Kirkes' body language. He's in a line playing offside. There's the ball. What does he do? He looks at Bruno and tries to block him. Not interested at all in the white thing that's flying in the air towards them. He's interested in Bruno Guimaraes and can I stop him? And the answer is no, and Canate commits the same type of error.
Just before we go to that, is there anything Ekitike can do here? I mean, I would have thought that in the first instance, if that had come in, he was there potentially to block. Can he help his mate out at all?
The only thing I would say, Michael, is that he's a young centre-forward, inexperienced. You leave that to the defenders and the defenders. Yeah. And Kirkes, it's not Dan Burn, it's Bruno Guimaraes. There isn't a considerable height difference. You just go and collide with him, you put him off, you go and try and win that ball, and he can't get a header away then.
What about this one?
He does exactly the same.
Well, this is Dan Burn, but that hits the back of Canate. Yeah. It hits him on the back. He's got no intention of heading it. He probably gives up thinking Dan Burn's bigger than me, he's going to win the flick on. And he almost ducks, which is not a great look as a centre-half. And even after that, Gravenberch, I'll just take it back, Gravenberch is goal side. When it flicks off Canate's back, look, Gravenberch is goal side. He's in control there. And he's just not not spotted.
Canate's the same. Canate just doesn't want Dan Burn to head it. So he's pushing Dan Burn away and not worrying about anything behind him. Of course, it takes a little deflection off his back. And fair play to Osula who gets on the end of it. But Liverpool are not dealing with the ball, they're dealing with the man and other factors. That's why you've seen it tonight. You've seen it in the last couple of weeks. Liverpool are talking about a centre defender, and, they'll have to bring one in. The one thing I think that the results highlights tonight, even though Liverpool won, is they need reinforcements. This team or this performance at this moment is not good enough to go all the way to the end and win the league, is it? You can't play like this. You have to get way, way, way better to go far in this league.
From a depth, I think that's true. Yeah. I mean, from people all outside will look at it and think, wow, the money that they've spent, I know they brought a lot of money in as well, but the money they've spent, the amount of players they've brought in, and it's incredible to be sitting here saying they're still desperate for another attacker. They're desperate for another centre-half. Those 2 positions are a must at the moment. Liverpool are weaker in many ways in their squad. So, I think there will be more business done between now and the...
First time they've conceded 2 goals to 10 men in 24 years. But he has the best insight of this from anyone off the bench. I mean, as I said, unfortunately, yours wasn't the winner, but you can know what it means to come through, get your opportunity and come off and score like this. But he's been on the pitch less than 5 minutes.
And absolutely. I mean, it was a wonderful finish. He's obviously got a lot of talent. Maka sees him a lot, or has seen him a lot at the academy. He's a very direct player, got great feet. He is exciting. Possibly, a lot of people thought he was too young, maybe. Would he have had his chance if happenings hadn't occurred over the summer? Liverpool losing 3 attacking players. But these things, are meant to be in many ways, and he was meant to be there today in that position with that incredible finish. I mean, the confidence of him to do that. The best thing about that finish was there was really no options. The ball coming from that side on your right foot. It is a hard right foot, side foot finish into the far corner. There are no real options. Yes, you can pull it into the near post, but that really is the obvious option. So he didn't have anything on his mind other than, right, this is the finish, this is what I'm going to do.
And the one thing you would say, Mo, he has scored a couple of goals in pre-season, which may or may not have helped.
Massively helped.
But the fact that he's played at Anfield...
But that situation's
But
different.
that is a different situation. And Liverpool saved their best bit of football, their best move to the 100th minute. I mean, talk about getting out of jail, talk about getting out of trouble and rewriting a new game. You know, if they would have finished 2-2, you would have thought, you know, how on earth have Liverpool got away with a draw? And then they go and get 3 points out of it. No wonder Virgil kept on saying, we move on, because the more you focus on it, the more errors, the more questions you've got. And it was an incredibly strange performance, but an magnificent result. Very strange. I felt sorry for Newcastle. I really did. Everything went against Newcastle tonight, and then they concede in injury time like that. And we feel sorry for Mo as sort of year by year his records tumble. I mean, in fairness, you've held this one for a long time, but you have been knocked off your perch as Liverpool's youngest ever Premier League goal scorer. Macca almost made that graphic, by the way. 19 you were with research when you scored for the first time. Okay, well, why didn't you put me on there?
They could have elongated it.
Well,
it's Sean, the producer, who does this, not me.
Is that Sean? Was he a Newcastle fan? No, he's not a Newcastle. Hobbs is a Newcastle fan. But he's too
as your
busy
friend,
crying,
I was
think,
mentioning that you scored at
goalie.
19. But yeah, he's beaten some names.
And the good thing is, listen, players can be decent and showing a bit of form and showing some talent, and maybe at the end of the season there's nothing on it and they come on and they score the 5th goal in a 5. That was the real deal today. He'll always look back on that and think the feeling of scoring the winning goal, it wasn't just his first goal ever. It was so important. I know we're early on in the season. You don't want to be losing ground. You don't want to be losing ground. Liverpool have got Arsenal next. All of a sudden, if they get beat there and they're 5 points behind, that's a lot of catching up. I know it's a long season. You don't want to be doing that. That is such an important goal for Liverpool. Forget who scored it, but that lad now.
But with reaction from St James's Park, Liverpool's first goal scorer returning after a suspension tonight. Ryan Gravenberch waiting to speak to us. Ryan, well done. I mean, what a win. What a game that was to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Sorry?
What on earth was that game like to play in?
Yeah, it was crazy. But we know if you come here, this is a really tough place, a really good team. They're really physical, they fight to the end, and we saw that today.
And Rio Ngumoha, we've just been talking about it. I mean, he picked up his exam results last week. To come on and do that ahead of his 17th birthday, I mean, it's fairy tale stuff, isn't it?
It's crazy, yeah? I think for him it's a dream that come true. He worked really hard. You have seen him in pre-season. He did really well. And then if you do this today, can't be better.
Ryan, well played. It's Michael Owen here. Obviously, you were missed in the first game. Lots of counter-attacks against Liverpool. You were there to solidify it. But you ended up scoring a goal as well. I thought you were going to shoot with your second touch, but you took another touch again and then delayed it. As soon as you hit it, did you think it was in?
Yes, I think it was deflected.
Just a small one?
Yes. I wanted to shoot at first, but my touch was not that great, so I took an extra touch, and it was nice that it went in. Really happy with my first goal this season.
Ryan, Steve McManaman here. I just wanted to ask, what was it like to play him? Because at times, Liverpool seemed to struggle against the 10 men of Newcastle.
Yeah, we know what I said. We know Newcastle's a really tough team. We have seen it last season when we played here. Also in the final, we lost against them. So it's really tough, but I think, we have such a good fighting spirit, and then we fight till the end. And I'm happy we got the 3 points.
Yeah, just even at this stage of the season, how big is that win, given the fact you've got Arsenal coming up next at Anfield as well?
Yeah, really good feeling. Obviously, what I said, we know it's a tough place, so I'm happy that we have the 3 points, and we have to prepare for Arsenal because they are really good as well.
Very well done. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us, Ryan.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, really tough one for Newcastle to take shape. They go to Leeds next on Saturday. Suspensions, as you said, injuries, and 1 point from 2 games.
Yeah, it's a big week coming up, I think, for Newcastle. And I think, as we've seen before, the chairman's there for a reason, not just to watch the game tonight, but I do believe he's there to do some business. Hopefully, one of the businesses is keeping Alexander Isak and maybe adding to that. We don't know how that's going to pan out, but you know, Gamari spoke really well in a sense as the captain. They stick together. Anthony Gordon maybe was trying too hard nearly for the team. I think since the Isak sort of drama or whatever you want to call it, I think the players have really sort of come together, and I think the performance tonight, you know, deserves such great credit, Steve. It's a brilliant performance, and I feel for Eddie Howe and his team as well, and even the fans tonight. They didn't deserve to lose that game right at the end, but
that's football, as they say. It's a tough night for them.
I think it's fair to say as well, something like that, all the problems off the pitch with Isak, with Newcastle not really hitting the ground in the transfer market as well, it could have been a lot of frustration, but I think it is fair to say the club is really, really united at the moment. I mean, that was a fantastic performance. We say how poor Liverpool were, but Newcastle made them look poor at times as well, especially with 10 men. It was an incredible performance. They can lick their wounds tonight, but hold their heads up high.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for your time, gentlemen. Liverpool's night. But when Newcastle play Liverpool in the Premier League, it's always one not to be missed. And tonight didn't disappoint.
Quite remarkable. I was doing a paper round at 16 and not much else. Sorry, dropping my lid as well. Look, do you feel that the game is changing, Tim? You know, kind of like this battle for the young talent is intensifying now?
To be fair, if they keep contributing like they have the last week, everybody will be looking out for the young ones. I mean, some amazing talent coming through. Obviously, last night Rio decided it in the last final minutes. Obviously, Max Daumann looked a really, really promising player. I think Arteta really rates him very, very highly, and I think I can clearly see why he does.
Yeah, that's impressive from Rio, wasn't it? I mean, just ridiculous. And it just shows when you're that young, you just don't really worry about anything. You just give it a go, because I think many people might have taken a little bit of a touch before they touched that, and he just kicks it straight in. And Max Daumann looked equally as confident, Estevao as well at the weekend.
Yeah, some really exciting talent coming into the Premier League, and I think that's why it's the best league in the world, you know, and everybody wants to play in that league. And like you say, Rio yesterday, he could have taken a touch, but he was confident to just whip it in the corner, and he decided the game for Liverpool.
I'm interested as well in the dressing room when a young player comes in like that, that's 15, 16.
Worries everyone.
What are the senior players doing? Are they thinking, what are you doing here? Have they heard the hype already about the young kid?
I think if the manager gets him involved with the first team, you trust that he's got something about him. But yeah, you put a bit of pressure on him. Of course, you look after him, but you want to see in the first couple of sessions if he's up for the task, because you know if you are on the pitch, you want to be able to rely on your teammates. And to be fair, all of them, Estevao, Chelsea, they're showing the quality why the manager's showing the trust in them.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I know you're training to be a sporting director, aren't you, at the moment? So is this something that you would look at as well, you know, nurturing the young talent? How different is that, perhaps? I mean, I know years ago we never even had sporting directors, so it's a whole new role, really, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, through the PFA, I got the opportunity to do some education, and the sporting director role is always one of them that I found interesting. I mean, I've been a professional football player for 20 years, so I know everything about this side of the football pitch, but actually the board level is very interesting to see how they go about it on directors level. So yeah, it's been an amazing opportunity through the PFA, and I've been doing that for 2 years, and I'm fully graduating apparently the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So yeah,
you said you were looking for work, so you're going to be knocking on maybe, because I know they have a vacancy at Newcastle as well.
Yeah, Eddie can always call me, but no, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, knowledge is power, and I think one of those amazing educational opportunities. I think I would say to any young player, not just the ones who are transitioning. Obviously, I'm 37, but I think there's loads out there to develop yourself.
You know what it's like as well to be a teenage debutant. 18, was it, against Palermo in a UEFA Cup game? What are your memories of that? What was that like coming into that game?
Yeah, you know, you're getting chucked in the deep end, but like Vicky said there, you're 18, so you don't really think about what goes on or the magnitude of it. I mean, after the game, you realise, especially the Geordies up north, that the impact it had on so many people, and especially playing for such a big club. But I think when you're 18 until 24, you want to play, you don't care, you think you're the best thing out there, you're better than already the number one. And I thought I was 18, and I thought I was better than Shay Given already when I landed in Newcastle. So, but you need that bit of confidence / arrogance to make it on the top level and to deal the levels you expected to do it. But yeah, when you're 24 onwards, you start thinking about it, you get injuries, and you start thinking about the politics maybe a bit more.
And I was just to that, you know, as you're training for the sporting director, you're going to have to be dealing with agents, intermediaries. You're probably going to have to be dealing with parents as well who think they should be playing, their children, their child or their client should be playing. Are you thinking now about protecting young players, or are you kind of the mindset, well, you know, if they're good enough, they should be in the first team, or are you thinking more about the pathways and protecting them a little bit?
You have to. I mean, the money in the game now, this agents approaching young, like 16, probably earlier, you know, so I think the parents, the foundations of the player is really important. I think clubs are a lot more savvy with it now than they used to be. So the support system, the mental side of things of football is so important, and the boys especially and the girls coming through, they need that support. And I think making your debut, scoring the winner at St James's Park, Virgil van Dijk already said yesterday, this is where it starts from, you know, and this is where the hard work needs to continue. And this is where you need experienced players pushing the young kids and showing them the way, like Salah said. That's the job, not just being the best player in the world, but they need to educate the young ones coming through.
What would your advice be? Because, I mean, you've done all right, so dare I say, you know, and you got an injury, didn't you, shortly after you came on as you debuted. So what would your advice be to all these young players coming through, and how do they handle that pressure? Because also, you know, coming on for your team and in the lights of St James's Park or Anfield or wherever, it's a huge pressure, isn't it? So how do you deal with that?
Listen to the experienced professionals, you know, and not just your manager, people you trust. I think you need a core of people you know you can trust. I think I've been quite lucky that I had my, like Shay Given I mentioned, Steve Harper were excellent examples for me to look up to, and I think they really guided me how to deal with the pressure. But it's a scary place if you have to do it yourself. So again, the support system is huge.
Having good people around you.
100%.
Yeah, OK. All right, brilliant. OK, stay with us.